Hey everybody, welcome back to Whiskey Book. We are in the second to last episode of the Lord of the Rings series. This is the second to last semifinals, let's put it that way. We all still have the finals left to go. We are picking what 5 would we take on the Fellowship of the Ring. If we were on their fellowship and we had our limited pack, what 5 bourbons would we take that will go with Redbreast 12, Wild Turkey Rare Breed, and Eagle Rare 10-year. Those 3 are set, but we want to find out the next 2, and this has been kind of a fun journey to see what we would take. And so far they've been bourbons that are, at least in my area and kind of what I've seen around the webs, fairly easy to find. There's nothing that's always easy. There's nothing that's the same price in everybody's area or the same availability. But so far we've done that. Today might be a little tougher, but that's okay. Stay tuned to find out what we've got this episode. All right, everybody, welcome back. So, Lord of the Rings series, one of the greatest fantasy books, if not the greatest fantasy book. I'm going to say greatest of all time. There's some others I like, and we can do reviews on what I like, the top 10 fantasy books, fantasy series later, but that's not what this is about. We're journeying with the hobbits, with Gandalf, with Boromir and Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli, and we're in the Fellowship, and we have a pack, and we're the whiskey bearers. That's what we are. And so we get to pick 5 to take with us, but we can only take 5. And so what's going on, and where are we in the book? Well, in the book, kind of relating the level of proof and value of the whiskeys we've had with kind of the story in the book. And since this is the second to last, where are we now? We're at the Battle of Pelennor Fields. We are with King Theoden and his 6,000 Rohirrim, and he is trying to inspire them to charge down the hill into the wall of spears and polearms from the orcs and the uruks, and he is at that point where what he says will make a difference, and this charge will make or break the future of humanity. So with the future of mankind, all of man on the brink, Theoden starts the charge. And before he starts the charge, he gives a speech. And this is Theoden's speech as he's riding down the length of his men on horses, his almost like Vikings on horses, but his Rohirrim, and they have their spears out, and he's riding by, hitting their spears with his sword. And he says, "Arise, arise, riders of Theoden. Fell deeds awake, fire and slaughter. Spear shall be shaken, shield shall be splintered. A sword day, a red day, ere the sun rises. Ride now, ride to Gondor." Because they are riding to the aid of Gondor. Actually, it's Minas Tirith, but the Gondorians in Minas Tirith, the last bastion of hope. Well, what is worth that? Well, let's see. What do we have to go with the book today? This is a doozy, and you may have seen from the thumbnail, but there's some good ones here. I'm going to start with the lowest price, kind of show you to the highest price. Lowest price we have today in this blind. Now, I don't know. I've got glasses in front of me. I don't know what's in the glasses. My lovely wife poured them. I know what's in the bottles. I don't know what glasses are in front of me, but so this isn't A. This is just a bottle I pick up, so it could be A. I don't know. But Four Roses Small Batch Select. I had this one on the channel before. Kind of in blind, sometimes it comes out a little spicy, but it's the lowest price here. It's Four Roses Small Batch Select, 104 proof from Four Roses Distillery. But it's so sweet and good. It's really is a good bottle. And that one's not super hard to find. It goes away a little faster than the Four Roses single barrel, but it's to me it's a step above the single barrel, and I really like it. So we'll see how this plays out. And just so you know, Pelennor Fields, the last video was bottled and bondish, right around 100 proof. This is going to be around 105 proof, so give or take. So second one we have Calumet 15. I think I've had, no, I don't think I've had the Calumet 14 on the channel before, but Calumet 15, non-chilled filtered, 105 proof, about, oh, I didn't do this for order, did I? This one is the most expensive. Okay, so I did the least expensive and the most expensive. This one's about 135 in my area. Distilled in Bardstown, Kentucky through Three Springs Bottling. And it's Calumet is pays homage to the Kentucky Derby. There's Derby winners on there, and that is the, I don't remember right, the official whiskey or bourbon of the Kentucky Derby. So we might as well, since I already messed this up on the price wise, we'll go to the second highest priced one, Sam Houston 15. Now this one I have had on the channel before. Not in a blind though, so we're going to see how it does. This is 103 proof, $125, also from Three Springs Bottling, and pays homage to Sam Houston. So the second lowest priced one we have is another, I've had Joseph Magnus, the regular batch, regular blend on here before. This is the Murray Hill Club. This is kind of, if you can't find the cigar blend, this is kind of the second tier. 103 proof, from Joseph Magnus through MGP or Ross and Squibb, however you want to say it. Very sweet usually, so we're going to see how that does in the blind. I really like Joseph Magnus. The cigar blend really hits my palate. Murray Hill Club has been, just like I said, a little bit sweet for me. And last but definitely not least here, 107 proof, highest proof price point. The Murray Hill's $99 in my area. This one, not right in my area. I had to travel a little bit to find it. It's $100. The highest proof in this though. Old Elk Double Wheat. I have heard great things. I've never had it, so this is going to be fun. Because what a lineup we have today. This is definitely worth Pelennor Fields, I know, because most of these I've had before and I really, really like them. But only one is going to make it through to the finals. So let's see which one does it. We're at the Battle of Pelennor Fields. Theodonis gave his speech. We are charging right ahead into the nose. On A. Ooh, so that is really, really sweet. There is definitely some brown sugar. There's some tobacco notes on the very bottom of that, light tobacco. No, pipe tobacco, not cigarette. Some I get cigarette, like wet cigarette, like you put the cigarette out in some water and you get that damp tobacco smell. This isn't it. This is very sweet, but tobacco-y and red berry. There's definitely some red berry on that. Oh, that is really, really good. That is excellent. Let's go for B. Ooh, B. Oh, B's got something interesting going on here. It's also got some of the brown sugar. I'm not getting maple or toffee so much out of these. That has some baking spice, almost like an Irish, where you get out of an Irish, a biscuit kind of a smell. Definitely baking spice. Oh, that's so much different than one. One was a sweet bomb with some, maybe even pear and red berry. This is more baking spice, bready, but still sweet. Very good. All right, let's try C. Oh, that's interesting. C's got a funk to it. C has it's like a fruit that's overripe. There's a little nuttiness to it, not peanut at all, just nut, and there's a mustiness, a musty I've had musty ones on here before. It's a different musty where that was a dry, dusty must. Dusty musty. This almost like a Scotch smell to it. Like you're getting some overripened prune, maybe even plum, really dark, but peaty. But this isn't a Scotch. That is very, very interesting. I don't even know if a prune can be overripe. I'm going to go back to C real quick. Oh, that's just a weird musty to it. That's malty maybe. Yeah, not musty, that's malty. All right, D. Oh, D. D is my bourbony bourbon. D is spice, like pepper. A lot of pepper in that. There's brown sugar. That's where the toffee is. Not potpourri, but there's a little bit of flower, grass, garden in there. And maybe that's just because I've been gardening lately. But that's more bold, right in your face bourbon. I'm going to hit you with some brown sugar, some sweetness, but there's definitely spice on it. I can smell the proof. Let's go to E. Wow. E is like a combination of A and D. There is some red berry there. There's some sweet, definitely some caramel, definitely vanilla. A lot of vanilla in E. But it's got some like leathery tones maybe to it. That is really red berry too. That's vanilla red berry. That's kind of what I would call it. Not strawberry. That's deep cherry. Oh, and on the side, I definitely got some dusty, leathery notes over here on the other side. Like an older bourbon. That smells older. That smells deeper, richer, dirtier. Wow, that one's interesting. These are all interesting. What's really cool about this setup is all of these have something to offer. Whoever loses here is not going to be a loser. Well, I don't know. I've never had the Old Elk Double Wheat, but I've heard so many good things. But from what I've had, I like all of these. So I could take all of these, but there can only be one. Okay. Based on the nose, it would be E. Let me go back real quick. E and A. Holy cow. Yeah. Oh, B is such a different fruit berry. B is berry with that bread. It's jam on bread. That's what B is. It's you put a preserve on a biscuit in the morning. Ooh, it has to be in the morning. C, it's still malty, still musty. I come back to it after smelling the others. And something just pops out. I can't. It's almost like what are those malt balls? The Whoppers. It's like Whoppers, but maybe sat out, like got old or something. Just a hint of the chocolate on it, but definitely the middle, the Whopper. But like you left it in the truck over a year, and you were cleaning your truck and you found it, and that's probably what it smells like. Which on a bourbon, that just makes it interesting. That doesn't make it awful. D definitely has more. It's a sharper smell. You can smell the spice on it. It wants to reach out and bite you. I still get a little. I said potpourri before. I'm kind of getting that a little bit of flowery. Wow. And E, just when you first put it up to your nose, it's just, you're like, oh, this is just a bourbon. You just get the caramel vanilla, a lot of vanilla, a little red berry. As you get into it, though, it has something different on every part. I just got actually a little strawberry there. Just so good, so good. All right, we're charging down the hill. Battle is about to commence. Let's see what we got. hey. And that's the first drink of the day. So definitely getting some proof, but vanilla. Ooh, definitely getting some proof. Spice, 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 all, but a good spice. It's coating, the spice is coating. It's telling me it's there. It's vanilla. It's a little bit of caramel. It's buttery on the tongue, but it coats the mouth, and there's a buttery finish, a buttery cream finish. Not creme brulee, just more just buttery. Yeah, very good. And the finish is still going. I'm just going to sit on a little bit just to see where the finish goes for us, because I'm not in a hurry to get to the next one. Let's go to B and see if B was our biscuit. Is our Irish smelling biscuit. Very red berry. That is coats the top of the tongue. First one, A, coated the entire mouth. It was just like an explosion of spice in the entire mouth. This one coats the tongue. Feel a little bit on the outside top of the mouth, but mostly it's the tongue. What's sitting on there is actually a little bit of dried like oat cereal kind of taste to it. Not super sweet. That biscuit thing's kind of coming through. This is almost like you ate the biscuit and kind of a dry biscuit and you didn't have anything to drink, and that biscuity, dusty dryness is sitting on your tongue. That's kind of what this is, with a little bit of you put a little spice with the biscuit. I lost the jam or the preserves though. I'm not getting the fruit on the palate yet. So again, we'll come back to it. Maybe something will happen then. But that was B. Anyway, let's go to C. Oh, C. So every time I go back to C, it's more interesting. That maltiness, normally kind of not my thing, but I've been trying to get into scotches lately, so I'm expanding my palate's repertoire. Big words. And so I'm interested what this tastes like, because it's the most interesting out of the bunch. E's got some very interesting things too, but this is something different. I'm just very curious. Oh. I don't know what that is. That is Cinnabon creamy flavor topping with stale crackers. The musty that I was talking about there, it's completely musty in the mouthfeel too. I mean, that carries, the nose carries through to the palate. Like, that's a 1-to-1. It's sweet. There's vanilla. There's a lot of vanilla, kind of vanilla cream there. It's coating the mouth more than B too. Wow, that's amazing. Amazingly different. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely different. It adds a complexity to drinking that I haven't had. So we'll see. I'm not sure if I love it. I don't hate it. It's interesting. All right, let's go to D. What was D? D was my sweet and spicy. D was the one that wanted to smack you up a little bit on the nose. Yep, it's still there. It is a sweet and spicy. A lot of pepper. Maybe cinnamon. Oh, that's more toffee on the palate. That the spice, the spike that I got on the nose is there. You can tell there's pepper in it, but it's very buttery, toffee. This is more kind of, my favorite palate is the little toffee candies. In fact, I got one right here. These little guys, these things right here, they come vanilla, butter rum, all the little flavors, toffee, butterscotch. This is kind of that toffee on the tongue, coats the mouth, vanilla, caramel. Oh, it's really, really good. I'm actually impressed with that one. The nose, wasn't a fan as much as the others, other than maybe C. C I still haven't quite figured out yet. That one's weird. But D, very nice. Let's go to E. E was, what was E? E was the very interesting old, I'm pretty sure E is one of the aged ones. Could be wrong. Have no idea. Oh, but it's deep red berry with a little tobacco with some leathery notes. I think this is an older one. Let's see if the palate equals this amazingly interesting nose on this. Okay, the initial palate, the flavor was a little spicy, kind of stole flavors away. I couldn't tell what it was because the spice just. But then that rolled away, and what came out was this beautiful vanilla, dark chocolate, very dark chocolate. The bitter, almost bitter dark chocolate with. You get a hint of a berry back there, but not really fruity at all. It's more leather and tobacco, and I'm not getting a ton of tobacco, but a little bit of that with vanilla and just it's yeah. This thing, the finish is still going on it too. Legs on this for days. Wow, look at that. That coats the mouth. That one is fantastic. None of these are super high proof, but this one's warming you up. Like if you were probably the wrong one to have right now. It's 90 some degrees here. This one, if you were cold and you needed something to warm you up and just hug you and hold you and and sing you sweet lullabies, that's your baby right there. Wow, it's still going. I'm getting more caramel vanilla on the back of the throat now. Excuse me, back of the tongue. Oh, just want to hold on to that one for a little bit. Very, very nice. Last place. Let's just get to this. Last place is C. I've never tasted this before, so I'm going to grab the Old Elk bottle first and see if that's what it is. And I've kind of found that Maker's Mark is okay, but I'm not huge into the wheated, even though there's some that are okay. And some days I really like it, some days I don't. If that's what this is, it's one of those days. And yes, it is the Old Elk Double Wheat. I understand why people would like that one. I really do. It's got a bold flavor in its own right. If you like Scotch, woo, if you like wheated, this has a wheated. I think it's the double wheat really shines through it. I'm just not. Two things. I'm not. Ryes are okay. Wheats are hit or miss for me. So that doesn't surprise me, even though still happy to have this bottle, and I'll try it again. Maybe my palate will evolve. Second to last place, I guess we would call that fourth. These are higher proof. I've had a few drinks. Don't make me math right now, please. Okay, B. B is hard. It's that bread. It's that biscuit. It just at the end going back and forth. It was really, really good. It just didn't stack up to the others, and so B, of course, I have it in order. Is oh, I'm getting surprised here. Oh, the Four Roses Small Batch Select. I'm going to be honest, folks. I did not think that was what that was, because Four Roses usually comes across as you get a sweet flavor to it, but it dries out. You know what? That does make sense, because it dries out really fast. Not a lot of fruit. You usually get a lot of spice to it. I got a lot more spice on the other things, but 104 proof. It should have stacked up. I mean, it's right in there with them. I just didn't get the proof on it. The flavor was good, but it was more just dry, and that's why it didn't move on, because the other things were more complex. But still, holy cow, I really, really like this one. This is going to be interesting because wow, did I go back and forth in the top three. They're all unique. They all have several flavors. There's definitely some tobacco, leathery, older notes to them, and it's just, they were so good. So third place is D. What is D? D, I'm actually surprised this did as well as it did. The Murray Hill Club. I love Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend. It would have been the one to stack up against the Calumet and the Sam Houston, but that's a rare bird, and it just doesn't fit into this what we're doing here. It breaks the rules. It breaks too many rules. It's sweet. It's almost over sweet, and I don't mean. Yeah, I do. I think this would be a good one if I put this against 1910 and Woodford Double Oaked in a like, excuse me, dessert bourbon mash. It would go with those. It's very desserty. It's unique, but it just at the end. Okay, let's put it this way. This one was in the lead for a while. The first go through, this was in the lead, and that doesn't surprise me because the dessert ones, when you have your first drink, the dessert ones stand out. When you go back through, when you start getting into bourbons, and for anybody watching this who's new into bourbons, you really, really move towards the sweet, the dessert ones at the beginning, and as your journey goes on, you move away from that. You go to more interesting ones that have different flavors and things that maybe you thought were awful at the beginning. You're at when you get into your journey, you're like, I need more of that and less of the super sweet. Even though the super sweet has its place, it just doesn't stack up as you move on. In my first months of doing this, of getting into bourbons and hunting, this probably would have been the top dog here, no problem. So second place is A. Now A and E, this doesn't surprise me with what's left because they come from the same bottling company. They're kind of the same company. Sam Houston 15 versus Calumet. Not a shocker here that these are the top two. No, the other ones, it's a little bit of a surprise how much of a battle they put up. I got some of the same notes. Uber sweet, rich, leathery, tobacco. They both had it. Seems to me E just had a little bit more finish than A. E's finish, holy cow. I just sat here with the finish while I was going through and moving the bottles around, and it just didn't go away. It is so... the initial flavor is not as sweet, and it kind of punches you with a spice. But then if you just let it sit, it carries with you. That's great. A was second place, and A, Sam Houston 15. Interesting. I hate to guess while doing these. I kind of thought that E was that because it was a little, not chalkier, maybe a little deeper, darker. I thought E was. But that makes E, yep, the winner going on. And most expensive, I hate to say it, Calumet 15. Wow. Sweet. But then it turns into the finish. That's what won it for this. The finish just went on and on and on. And then you could just drink it and just sit with it, which I really like because if it's that expensive, you don't want to drink too much. Take a sip. And you just let it go, and it's awesome. So we finished the battle, maybe. Next one is Orcs have breached Gondor, the gates of Minas Tirith, and we're with Gandalf, and we're going to be the high proof battle, which will lead us to the finals at the gates of Mordor, which will lead us to the end battle, the final, the finale. So one more to go in the semifinals, and then we'll match them all up and see what top two get to go with us. But this has been a blast. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.